What's up, world? What is going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the BlerdSpot Podcast. I'm your host, June88, Crystal Band, the homie kid Phantom. But he's a phantom again, you know. He's sick, him sick, so send him well wishes on Twitter. Today, Crystal Bay has finally seen Miss Marvel. What did you think? The nerds and blurs would love to know.
I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
First and foremost.
Tell them how long it took you to watch the show. Tell them how long it took for you to watch the show.
I watched it in a day.
Okay. You watched the whole show? Okay.
I watched the whole show in one day. When I told y'all I started it, I finished it that night.
Okay.
It was like an hour each episode, and there was only 6 episodes, so it's only 6 hours in a day. So
okay. But she was she was late to the party. She didn't even watch it when it was in real time. We did not even give a damn. Like we were like, I ain't watched it. You're like, come on, watch the show.
Because I didn't want to watch it yet.
But you was all in for Moon Knight though. You wasn't all in for
Moon Knight's one of my favorite. I told y'all that.
But still though.
I was every week with Moon Knight. But I did enjoy the fact that I could binge like all at once and didn't have to wait a week. I did enjoy that. So,
right.
Hey, I want y'all to check out my jersey. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
It's from Spy Family. Boom. Spy Family. This is from Otaku Academy. They do have pre-orders going on, not for this jersey. This was a limited edition. They do have pre-orders going right now for several different jerseys. Hawks from My Hero, Yor from Yor on Ice, a couple of Kuroko basketball jerseys. There was one more because I wanted Kurapika from Hunter x Hunter. They do have that. And if you type in our code, that's on Blerd, you get 15% off purchase. So do that.
I feel like okay. Is that the one we all got? That's from the same joint, right?
Nah. This is from Spy Family. This is Anya's. It's a replica. It's a jersey, but it's designed to look like Anya's school uniform thing that she wears. So there's this hat on Steady Hands that is pink with Anya's little things up there, and I'm gonna get it so I can wear with this outfit.
Right on, because I haven't even worn my jersey yet in the streets yet. I haven't even worn
we need to do something with it because I still have. I wear mine all the time.
I haven't worn mine. I'm probably gonna wear it, but we gotta do something for the winter, for the fall. Like you gotta get to break the Timbs out and the beanies.
We'll do a photo shoot. See if we can get Ann up here. Go do a photo shoot somewhere.
I told him to come on out here. He's like, yeah, I'll be out there. Like, I told him come out so we can all kick it and whatnot. But Miss Marvel was good. Like that was a good ass show.
It's honestly one of my favorite shows so far.
But you want to know what about it? It was a good show, but it didn't leave me wanting more after. Like how was the Moon Knight and Loki and all those? I didn't. It was like
one more, especially with we're gonna get more because of the switch. Before we get spoiler alert. I mean, it's been a while. Y'all should have seen it by now.
Should have been seeing that more.
But the switch at the end when she switches places with Captain Marvel, it left me wanting to know what happens next, which will probably be talked about in the Marvels.
Right.
But I do hope this show gets a second season, only because and we as Black people talk about representation and with Black Panther and whatnot, but I feel like this was really great representation for someone who is Islamic.
Right.
For someone who is classified.
He said, hold on, guys. EMan says he's in the waiting room, but I do not see him in here. Where is he? Hold on. I hope I don't have to reset this joint.
Well, if we do, that's fine.
I mean,
you don't see him in the waiting room? I mean, I don't have.
He says he's here. He says he's in the comments, guys. EMan, I just emailed you the link, the next link He's in here, guys. I just don't see you in the waiting room. I don't see you in the waiting room right now. Like, you did not pop up. I just checked your email. I just sent you another link. So hope that one works. Yeah, because I did email you a link. I don't know if it worked or not, but I just sent you the other link. So if you can, so check that one out. So we got EMan in here, guys. Here he is. Here he is. Here he is, the man of the hour.
There we go.
Man.
What's up? What's up?
Wow, this is everybody. This is EMan from EMan's Movie Review, and he got the classic recast of Charlie T-shirt on.
Hey, I started to wear my T'Challa shirt today, but I was like, nah.
I mean, since we on that today, I guess I'll show what I got.
Ooh, nice.
Yo, EMan, I know we've been trying to get this man on the show for like the longest, and schedules just didn't line up properly, and now we finally got him on. I'm humbled. I know my cousin Chris is humble. I know Andy's freaking out. He's sick, but he can't be. I know he's dying to be on this show. But like, just tell the people about yourself before we get started.
Yeah, hey, I'm a film critic, YouTube content creator. I'm blurred. You know what I'm saying? I love comics. I love movies. I love sci-fi. Clearly, I love Black Panther. And that's pretty much it. I'm just your everyday, regular, blurred. That's all. Nothing too special.
And I found out about you like a year or so ago. You was doing like I forgot what movie review I saw you talking about. I think Endgame came out.
Okay.
I found you. I'm like, yo, the guy's dope. And I subscribed. I've been following you ever since then. Then Chadwick passed and you did the recast of Charlie thing. I'm like, at first, like, yo, I was like, is this really gonna work? Like, how is it really gonna take off? Then it just blew up out of nowhere. Like, wow, this man did something that's freaking amazing. And like, our question is, what made you come up with the recast of Charlie idea? Like, what made you set up, like, I gotta do something and make this?
So, I mean, first and foremost, obviously, when Chadwick passed, that hit me hard professionally and personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was my favorite actor. I got a chance to interview him like one time. I mean, I ain't trying to act like I knew the brother, but look, them 5-6 minutes was great. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was happy.
It meant a lot.
Yeah, so hearing of his passing, like that just really, really hurt, and so he passed in August of 2020, and then I wasn't even thinking about Black Panther, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was still mourning, grieving. It still was unreal that this brother just passed away. And then in December, Marvel came out. Kevin Feige was like, we're just not going to recast the role, period. And they didn't put no parameters on that, no conditions. They didn't say for now. They didn't say just for Black Panther 2. They was just like, no recast for T'Challa. And even at that point, I was like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean like we're never going to see T'Challa again? Like, what are you talking about? Now, I know this might be hindsight for a lot of people today, but you have to think about back in December of 2020, we were fresh off of Endgame. We weren't talking about the multiverse and all these other things that we know now. So I just kind of want to put that frame of context for people at that point. So I was sitting there like, yo, like, are y'all going to just throw T'Challa in the background, kind of like how Fast and the Furious did with Paul Walker's character? Or are y'all going to kill him? Because his story's not done yet. Like, what are y'all doing? So I did like a long deep dive. I looked up every Chadwick Boseman interview I could get my hands on. I looked at everything that his friends have said about him, that his family have said about him. I was just consuming a lot of content. And about 3 to 4 months later, after Marvel said what they said, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't think that this is right. And it was one thing that really kicked it off, and it was Roland Martin, where he said he got a text message from Chadwick Boseman a couple of weeks before he passed. And, when Chadwick was looking skinny and stuff and people were worried about his health. And Chadwick told Roland, I I want people to see the role and not me. That's the job of an actor, to see the role and what you do with it. And obviously, he wasn't only talking about T'Challa. He was talking about all his roles. And as you know, James Brown, Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall. He wants us to see these characters that he's playing, these historical characters, because they have significance. And his own manager, Michael Green, because everything I talk about, I've nerded out and researched. His own manager backed that up and said Chadwick only took on roles that really meant something, right? So I was like, look, if that's the way Chadwick felt about the roles that he took on, especially T'Challa, then I do think it is a mistake not to recast. And that is what got me into the idea of launching this petition. I took a look at all the other social movements that were going around, Snyder Cut, and and all these other things that were happening at that time. And I was like, okay, like I want to kind of borrow some things from those, other movements, but at the same time, I want to do some things that they're not doing, to hopefully get the ball rolling. Because I understood that we weren't going to get like millions of people to just automatically jump on.
Right.
It was a very sensitive topic, very complicated topic. So, I wanted to make sure that we weren't attacking Marvel. We're not attacking the cast and crew and, the family or nothing like that. I want to make sure we was respectful about it. I mean, it took me almost like a month just to craft the petition itself, because I wanted to make sure if you're reading this, even if you disagree, you can't say that we're coming from a negative place.
Right.
But yeah, we ended up, I ended up getting that on change.org, and that was it from there.
So now, Chris, you got something? No.
Okay, go ahead with what you're gonna say.
So, like, my question would be like, because every time Black Panther pops up, it recasts. You call it like Aaron Rodgers in the playoff game, like, yo, I'm about to score this touchdown. It is a touchdown. Like, you say, all right, once this trailer drop, it's gonna go recast T'Challa. It did exactly what you said it was. So I guess my question would be like, what is your response for the people, like the people that say who are against it, like, yo, the movie's already made, they can't change it, you're wasting your time. What do you feel about when you hear stuff like that from people, like, bro, this is serious, but y'all acting like it's just like a whole character is getting deleted from a movie, like,
right.
It's like y'all cool with.
That's because people don't realize just before Chadwick passed how much phase what are we in for was centered around the character.
Yeah.
They don't realize that. All they see is MCU, but they don't understand the depth in the comics and how deep his character goes. So to them, it's just like, well, it's just a character, but it's not deeper than that.
Yeah, and it's like, I know we talk about all the time, like, it's one of the things, like, I feel like nobody is, I can speak for a lot of people, nobody was against Shuri being Black Panther. We was all cool with it.
Right.
Like, we talked about on this show millions of times, like, we have nothing against, like, but you said, this man has a whole story, like, that's gonna be just gone. Like, now, you said in one of your videos, like, they're using Black trauma to sell this movie. Like, now you talk about bringing in a son. Now, black son, no father. Then you're doing like, and when you said like, this man is on to something. Like, you see this every day, everywhere. It's like, so he got a point. So it's like, so what is your response to people like feeling like movies already made, this is silly, and all this, what's going on? Like, what's your response?
Firstly, like, I was very aware of timing, right?
Right.
Because I knew that once we sitting here talking about recast T'Challa again back in April of 2021, production didn't even start until June, July of 2021. So that was a good 2-3 months for Marvel to kind of maybe change their mind or whatever if they saw enough attention being called to it. Because let's also not forget that they already had a script for Black Panther 2 with Chadwick and T'Challa already in mind. Right. They had to rewrite that. So I'm like, well, while y'all are rewriting, let's also kind of drop this in your ear that T'Challa matters and T'Challa should have his story continue. And I would remind people that if you that Marvel is not like all other studios. Marvel changes stuff all the time. Marvel can do whatever they want, however they want, whenever they want. It doesn't matter if it costs more money. Yeah, that could be a challenge, but they will do it. It doesn't matter if it'll cause delays. Yeah, that's an inconvenience, but they've done it. They have done things. So, for example, I show people how, and this is documented, so you can Google this stuff yourself. They have changed the story of the Hulk from Avengers Age of Ultron based off of an internet rumor, just a rumor. And they were like, oh man, people already know this, or they already said this. We're going to change his story. That was just off of that. They've changed things in the middle of production. We had a whole pandemic, unexpected situation, kind of like, when someone dies. They had a whole situation where they changed the story of Spider-Man No Way Home. That's like that. They changed it in the middle of shooting. Yep. Then they've changed things after production has been done. They took Doctor Strange out of WandaVision. He was going to be in it. They took him out at the last minute. I just posted about how Black Panther 2, it wrapped production last month. And right after Comic-Con, they went back and did some more reshoots. They can change things at any point until that movie hits the screen. They can do whatever they want. But the other thing I would tell people was look, I made it very clear in the petition. I'm not saying we got to have an immediate recast. I'm just saying don't permanently end the character. I've left enough wiggle room there for the people that are still grieving, or I can't see nobody but Chadwick. I get all of that. But we can't also cater just to one side. We can't just cater to the side of people that are like, well, nobody else but Chadwick. Because what about the people that do want to see that character go on? What about the little kids that saw themselves in that character? And by the way, I'm not saying that those little kids can't see themselves in other people. What I'm saying is it's not fair to take that fictional character away, because as we can't control real life and the things that happen, you can control what happens with fictional stories. So, and what about the older generation as well? I've had people hit me up that are like 70 years old talking about man, I grew up on Black Panther when it came out in the 60s. I waited 50 years for this character to come out. How long is it going to take for them to bring Black Panther back, to bring T'Challa back on the screen? I'm like, yo, the best compromise is if you got to take a break, take a break. But you can't sit here and just shelve that character and just hide them behind the mantle, as I think you were alluding to earlier, because I think that does a disservice to the franchise in general. Yeah. Trying to just say oh, well, somebody else is going to take up the mantle. That's not the point. The point is the characters matter. T'Challa matters. Shuri matters. All the characters and their individual stories matter. The mantle is secondary. They're important even if they don't have the mantle. And that's why I'm trying to get people to understand this ain't about talking about we don't want Shuri or we don't want someone else. No, that's a straw man argument, because that's not what we're saying. We're just saying that this character matters. This character was created literally to be the embodiment of Black representation during the Civil Rights era. That's why he was created, because they didn't have Black characters in leading prominent roles. So it's kind of like you don't want to use that character as a stepping stone for somebody else. You want to use him as a cornerstone. Boom, we got T'Challa here, and then right next to him, we got Shuri, then we got Blade, then we got Sam Wilson, then we got. That's how you build. So right. To the idea of T'Challa just kind of being exchangeable or replaceable, I'm like, yo, that is not how inclusion works. You cannot have inclusion by engaging with exclusion. Taking them off the board, that does not help. You got to add more to the equation.
And
what up, Phantom? How you doing, bro?
And to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, I've seen people oh, well, Shuri is representation for some young Black girls. And as a Black woman myself, yes, she is. Yeah. And even before Chadwick passed, like June said, we've been talking about Black Panther 2. And we were okay, the second story, T'Challa, blah, blah, blah. Then you have Shuri come in the third, take up the mantle because, you can do the King of the Dead, plot and such. And then when Chadwick passed, it's like, dang, okay. That kind of throws a monkey wrench in thing. Give Shuri the second, give the mantle in the second, maybe. And it gives people time to grieve, gives people a chance to get out of their feelings, their personal feelings, the cast and crew. Because, like, I understand y'all had a relationship with this man and y'all were close, and it hurts.
Yep.
It also is, like you said, a disservice to not recast his character because you miss out on so much story that is yet to be told. And like after watching the trailer, I've heard people say it's not, but like my hope is that it's the 5-year blip.
I hope so too.
Because then it wouldn't make sense. Okay, 5-year blip, he's not there anyway.
Right.
And it gives you a chance for Black Panther 3 to come back with someone new.
Yep.
But my question for you is, in your campaign, have you had someone in mind, like any actors in mind that you would love to see take up the mantle of T'Challa?
And before you say that, Phantom said he needs one of those shirts. Can you tell him where you can get one?
Yeah. If you go to Teespring, so that's TEEspring.com/recast T'Challa and the number 2. You can get that. Again, that's Teespring, TEEspring.com/recast T'Challa and the number 2. You can go ahead and grab a shirt. All proceeds go to Colon Cancer Coalition in Chadwick Boseman's honor. We've already raised like $2,000 off of just t-shirt sales. I mean, you only make like a couple bucks off a t-shirt, so it's not like a whole lot. But all proceeds go straight to charity. So yeah, please, by all means, go ahead and cop one there. I'm sorry, what was your question was about? Oh, who could take it on? I have thought about a lot of who. I've always said Yahya Abdul-Mateen II would be like my number 1 choice. But you also have Trevante Rhodes. You got Damson Idris. You have so many talented Black actors that can step into the role. And I try not to focus too much on like who else could do it, even though we have so many talented actors that can. Only because I'm like I'm still trying just to fight to keep the character alive. Like I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it's sad because, especially in the Black community, because we don't have so many leading Black actors that are in leading roles, it's hard for us to conceive people that are not, that could take on the role. Right. But we don't struggle when it comes to who could be the next Batman, who could be the next James Bond, who could be the next whatever, like any other white character. We don't have a problem with that because you see white actors in leading roles so often, it's easy to rattle them off like that. But if people find themselves struggling, and saying that like only Chadwick could do it, I'm just saying that's kind of a backhanded insult to other Black actors. Like, we got talent out there.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they don't have the opportunities. And that's another reason why to recast.
Right.
Okay.
And with that 5-year blip theory y'all put out, I was thinking like, but I think you said you kind of debunked it a little bit, or you put your own little spin on it. In the 5 years, Shuri was blipped. So unless she was not blipped, maybe that she was just missing, that's going to be like freaking like, how do you explain that? But I think I've told somebody what that scene where you see Shuri in white. If you go back to the first Black Panther scene trailer, T'Challa was in white too, and he's walking in an ancestral plane. So what if that's her plane that she's seeing? Because we didn't know that was the ancestral plane when we first saw the trailer. We just thought, oh, that's what a soul stone is. I heard so many theories about that. But what if that's her version of ancestral plane? And I think the first Black Panther was on somebody within those pillars that you pointed out. Like, what if that's her going to see them and stuff like that? That's my theory.
No, hey, look, I'll take all of them. I'll take whatever theory that will give some room for that to happen, I'll take it. Because, this is why I get frustrated, especially when it comes from like creative people, right? Like people that are writers or artists or whatever. I get really frustrated when they act as though there's no wiggle room in this story. Like,
you just need to hire me. And
listen, you and me both. We can do it together. Because I'm sitting here like, if the average person can come up with just one other alternative, then obviously there are other routes. Obviously, there are different ways to do this. Again, it's fiction. Fiction means you can literally make up whatever you want. So yes, I totally be down with that. I've dropped my own video of my version of the blip theory. And this is one of many versions, right? Like you could do so many different things. And I addressed the whole idea of Shuri being blip. I'm like, you didn't see her get dusted. They also thought Scott Lang was gone too, but we found out later that was not the case. So I'm like, there's enough room there because it hasn't been confirmed that maybe she wasn't dusted. We've seen Wakanda hide their entire country from the world for decades, centuries. You don't think they can hide one person in the midst of chaos with people disappearing? Like, there's room.
She's a leading scientist in Wakanda. You think she can't hide herself?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm glad you said that. EMan, you said something that was so spot on that I didn't even think of. You like, they say T'Challa died from an illness. You said to Wakanda got all this technology. They couldn't heal him. They got all this technology.
Heart-shaped herb hills. What do you mean?
So it's like, let's think about it. Even if they can't figure it out, couldn't they freeze them until they figured it out?
They could do whatever they want.
I mean, like,
it's fiction.
We even said they could pluck out of T'Challa from another multiverse that were kind of like destroyed. Ain't nothing there. Like, yo, we need a king, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the options are there. My bigger issue is, and I hope that's not what happens. I hope that the rumors, leaks, or whatever are not true. I hope that they don't double down on using Chadwick's real life situation and putting that on T'Challa. I just think that would be in poor taste, in my opinion. I mean, it would be similar to when Paul Walker died. He literally died in a car accident. And it would have been very awkward going into a Fast and Furious movie to see
his character
Ryan die in a car accident too, and they mourn it. And it's like, oh, really? Like, would his family be cool with that? Like, y'all just gonna make people relive that real thing again? So I hope, again, I think Ryan Coogler is very talented. I hope they're not limited to that. Look, I wouldn't even care if they did something like, man, Dr. Doom like killed T'Challa. I mean, that actually happens in the comics where he put him in a coma. But you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all could do something like that. But I hope they don't double down on that whole illness thing, because, like you said, the whole like Wakanda can't figure that out. They can save people from bullet wounds and all this up, but they can't figure that out.
Not just any bullet wound, a bullet wound to the spine that should have left him paralyzed, but he's A-okay 2 days later.
Yep.
I had an argument with a buddy of mine. Like, man, what if it's something they couldn't figure out, bro?
They can fix colonizers, but they can't fix the king?
That's what I was saying. Like, my partner had nothing. Like, bro, really sit down. They could do it. Dog.
What if they couldn't figure it out? Like, they were figuring out on the fly how to remove Vision from his stone. They just didn't have enough time.
Exactly.
Shuri was doing that off the dome. Like,
they had spaceships in the 90s. In the 90s. Remember in the first movie, they had a whole spaceship, a hovercraft, in the 90s. And they can't figure that out. Come on now.
It's like,
don't sell Wakanda short.
Man, Wakanda could probably, they could probably fix anything. They could probably fix
anything. That's why Killmonger was so mad, because he's like, you got all this.
Yeah.
And he's over here struggling in America.
Exactly.
And across the globe, but y'all got all this to help us not struggle. Like, I get why Killmonger was mad. Now, he went about it wrong, but I get why he was mad. Because Wakanda can literally do anything. The sky is no limit.
Yep.
Yeah. So, speaking of Killmonger, the people are saying that's him at the end of the trailer.
I told you my theory a long time ago before Chadwick even passed.
Oh yeah, we know. We talked about that a
Based on
million
the
times.
comics, based on the comics, it is a possibility. Because my thing was, he has the heart-shaped herb. It has healing ability, regardless if he stabbed himself. The little nanobites or whatever is in the suit can plug up the wound. Like, it stopped a bullet wound. Why can't it do a stab wound? Like, I don't understand. And who's to say T'Challa didn't honor his wish by putting him in the ocean, and some Atlanteans, even though they're not calling them that now, found a body. Like, that was my theory long time ago.
Man, y'all got to go way back on our YouTube to find that.
Right, a long time, like season 1. That was my theory then, that there is a way for him to still be alive. Like, I think it was done to kill his character off anyway, considering that's T'Challa's like arch nemesis.
Yeah, and then, but
you're so frustrated with the people.
I don't know who more frustrated, me or E-Man.
Listen, Killmonger's dead. That's it for me. He's dead. He does not need to come back. I'm okay with him not coming back because of the way his character was portrayed. This is why he's one of the top 5 villains in the MCU for me. And a lot of times, like, and I'm not accusing anybody here. I'm just saying, like, a lot of times people think that having a redemption story or having him come back will make it better. It's almost like saying, do you really need Heath Ledger's Joker to come back? Because it might mess up the perfect way that his character impacted the story and left. And, if he comes back, what if he's not as good again, or something like that? And I'm like, look, Killmonger came, he did his job. He was a perfect villain. And even within the narrative, it wouldn't make sense to bring him back because the man's dying wish was, because T'Challa offered him, he was like, look, we could heal you. And, and he was like, no, like, he gave one of the best lines in the entire movie because he was like, it's better for me to die. I would rather die. And that was his last wish. And to me, I don't think T'Challa would disrespect this man, his cousin's dying wish after his cousins. He empathized with Killmonger, actually. Like, he was like, man, they did you wrong. They shouldn't have done this, and if there's anything I can do, I'll do it. And Killmonger was like, yo, let me die. And that was it. So for me, it would just be more of an issue if he came back. And to be honest, I think it would just really be fan appeasement. I think they would just bring him back just because fans, we like Michael B. Jordan. Like, he's a great actor. I like him. But I don't think it would serve the story justice to do it. I mean, if you want to do multiverse stuff, I guess. But the only other issue I have with it is just that I would rather see different Black actors come through, because a lot of times what ends up happening, we kind of do the Sidney Poitier, the Denzel Washington, Will Smith issue, where because we have a great Black actor, they get all the roles and that's it. And Michael B. Jordan is kind of sort of creeping into that, that lane where it's like, man, we need a Black actor. Where's Michael B. Jordan at? It's like, come on now, we got some more. Let's kind of mix it up a little bit. That's all.
And I don't know if it was you who said it or somebody else. Whatever it was the Queen, well, IT out there throwing hands in the Black Panther suit.
Hey, she could be. I've heard rumors that like multiple people are going to be wearing the suits and stuff. Like Okoye gonna have it, Shuri gonna have it, maybe the Queen has it. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. For me, I still don't like the idea of like passing the mantle.
That's like doing that. Like they passing that mantle around like a Snoop Dogg concert.
It feels like it kind of cheapens it a little bit.
Yeah, that's how I'm like, y'all just passing this around like a.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. Like.
So everybody gonna throw Cap Shield. Everybody gonna have it. Everybody gonna wear Tony's suit. Like, is that
that's
easy?
What it's looking like. Everybody got a suit. So yeah. I think before we switch gears, is I think I jokingly. You ain't right. I was telling somebody joking like, yo, it's like they like, yo, we got so many Black heroes now. We don't need a Black Panther. Y'all got it. You got Riri, you got Sam, you got all these other Black characters. You got Blade. What's up with another Black character? Y'all got
That's limited.
So why are we limited to the number of Black characters we have?
Right. How come that standard isn't applied to Black characters? That I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's sad, but again, I think it's a byproduct of not having enough. When you don't have enough, you're quicker to settle for whatever you can get, you know, and it's like, no, like the whole point of Black representation is not just the quantity, but also the quality, right? You don't want to just be like, oh, well, we got a bunch of Black faces up there, so it's all good. Well, if all those Black faces are supporting roles or background characters, is that really representation? Or do we want to have a whole lot of Black faces and leads and people with quality stories, you know, people that have meaningful impact? So, you know, the whole idea of like, oh, but we got other ones. Sorry, but like, no, I don't want to be settling for less. I don't think we should. We already are working from behind. Why do we have to settle for that? You know, like that's like me saying like, okay, let me give you $20 and then I take that $20 away from you. You're not going to like that because now you back to being broke. But if I give you $20 and then I give you another 20, now you got 40. And then if I keep giving you 20 and 20 and 20, now you got 80, 100. That's what you want. You don't want to deal in this substitution. Like, all right, let me give you 20 and then I'm going to take that back and give you a fresh, clean $20 bill. You didn't move up. You still got the same 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we want more. I want more so we can keep growing just like everybody else.
Right.
I feel that. And it's like you said, like, it's like, why is there a cap? Like, why is there, okay, well, we gave you this. Y'all should be okay with it. No, we shouldn't. Like, that's what made Black Panther so great in the first place. Because not only was the lead actor Black, so was the side character, so was the supporting actors. Everywhere we turn, with the exception of what, 2 people, everyone was Black. That's what made the movie so special. The cast was Black. The director was Black. It was just blackety black. And you can't take that away from us. Like, and it's not saying you're doing that, but not recasting the role. Like I said earlier, T'Challa was going to be the focal point of Phase 4.
Yep.
But they had to pivot and make it Doctor Strange. And I'm not saying Doctor Strange, you know, ain't doing an okay job. I mean, I like Doctor Strange, but I think Phase 4 would have been a lot different, and people wouldn't be as bored with it if T'Challa was the focal point.
And they let him turn up, like let him be that dude, like let him like show his ass and like really
let him be in the comics.
Let's not forget, T'Challa is the one that kicked off the Illuminati.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if that was him. That was like, hey,
and can we not
stuff going on?
Can we
put this secret group together?
And can we acknowledge the fact he watched the Fantastic Four by himself?
Oh yeah.
And he watched Captain America 2 by himself. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he did.
Him and his daddy. They both washed.
Like wash him like dirty laundry.
Yeah. Carry that man on their shoulder.
T'Challa is him, Henry Neutron. Okay. Like, people, and I feel like, I mean, the only issue I had with Black Panther was honestly, I feel like they kind of nerfed him a little bit, which I get it was part of his story. Like, okay, he didn't have that vengefulness, but I mean, just because he doesn't have vengeance doesn't mean he's still not that dude. Right. Like, all in the story, in the comics, he's assertive. He that dude. Yeah. And you can't tell him any differently. He don't bow to no one. And it may come off as arrogant, but that's who he is.
He was.
In fairness, his story was supposed to go over like everybody else's. Give him like 3-4 solo movies and develop them that way. Just like Tony Stark, Cap, Thor on his 4th movie already. So T'Challa was supposed to get that, you know, and grow and develop. But I don't know. For some reason, people, I don't even understand it. Like, some people really think that T'Challa's story is like complete. And I'm like, but you don't know anything really about him. Like, we just saw the cusp of him becoming a king. You don't know what he's going to be like as a king moving forward. Some of the best conflicts in the narratives in the franchise is T'Challa's relationship with his people. Like, sometimes, I mean, right now, the current one is kind of like the people are like, yo, we ain't doing this monarchy stuff no more. We want a democracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that interaction, we're not going to see. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what he's going to be like as a husband, as a father, as a diplomat, as an Avenger. Like, We don't know any of that stuff yet. And we should have, because I'm pretty sure that's what they were going to do in phase 4 and in phase 5.
Right. So with switching gears, because we were speaking about before you came on, Miss Marvel, did you? I know you saw it. And what was your thoughts on it?
It was cool. I mean, like I knew it was kind of geared towards the younger audience, which is fine because look, I got a 14-year-old daughter, and that was like right in her lane. I definitely appreciated the cultural stuff that they brought into it. Like I had no idea about partition like at all. So I was very appreciative to like kind of learn something new about that. I'm the only kind of knock I have against it, but it's not really against Ms. Marvel. It's more like the MCU so far, especially in phase 4, is that it keeps introducing new threats or new problems. And it's yet another thing that we have no idea where it's going. How does it connect? Should I care about this? Like, am I supposed to care about the clandestine Jinn people? Am I supposed to care about this dimensional, rift between the worlds or whatever? Or am I supposed to care about a celestial's face that's like halfway outside the earth, and another celestial that's going to come and pass judgment? Or am I supposed to care about Kang the Conqueror that's supposed to come? Or am I supposed to care about like I don't know what to focus on. So Ms. Marvel came through with yet another problem, which I know it's all set up for like phase 4, 5, 6. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, man, compared to like the earlier phases, we had one big thing to think about: Thanos. One way or another, we knew Thanos was going to be an issue one way or another, and it was easy to focus on. Ms. Marvel just came in and just added to more of the chaos. But I love the actress, love the story, and I love what it represented, especially for the people that were represented by it.
It almost seems like they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off, since they don't have T'Challa to be the focal point. I'm
saying that I need them to do a short, Disney Plus short with the Illuminati. I love the Illuminati. They were my favorite group on the movie. They show like, I love these. But like everybody got some aunties like that at church or somewhere in their family, like a bunch of aunties be gossiping.
They were nice.
It was cool, and I like that how the show it showed all her people that she represents. Like I like that.
Yeah,
that looks familiar. Yep. We've had that, but we ain't. But that's neither here nor there. But still, like that was a great feeling. That was great that they had somebody they can represent them. Like, yo, that's how we felt with Black Panther.
Yeah,
and it's good to see somebody else get that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's how I like Miss Marvel was a great show. But Chris, you didn't finish telling me about how you felt about the show before EMan came.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I loved, like EMan said, like I knew nothing about the partition. Like it was, and I'm a history buff, so to throw in like a history lesson while I'm watching, like that's always dope to me, because it's like I never knew. The show, like the cultural things, maybe because I do have a friend at work who is Pakistani, so it was like really interesting to see the culture and this, that, and the third. The culture and its simplicity, because let's just be real, it's just a surface level introduction to the culture. I haven't seen anybody complain about the representation, so I'm assuming on the outside looking in that they did a good job. And so I enjoyed it, honestly, more than I thought I would. That's why I put off watching it. But yeah, it was enjoyable. But it's like EMan said, like now we have another threat. Like, what do we focus on? Like, who is the focus? Is it Kang? Is it Galactus down the line? Like, what are we focusing on? And like I said, it seems like they're running around with with their head cut off, trying to figure something out, because Chadwick's death just kind of put a monkey wrench in everything they had planned. Because Kevin Feige always plans 10 years in advance. That's his thing. Like, he already knew what he wanted. T'Challa was going to be the quote unquote leader to lead the new Avengers. And I'm pretty sure each one of these shows had a script that had to be rewritten, because now your main focal actor, unfortunately, succumbed to a real life illness.
Right.
And now you're trying to scramble and figure out what to do, and it's showing. Phase 4, while I've enjoyed a lot of it, it's not living up to the Marvel we knew. So that's just kind of like where I'm at with Marvel, and I'm still gonna watch. I did say, one statement that if they recast Thunderbolt Ross, recast T'Challa, I probably will never watch another Marvel movie ever again.
No, they ain't doing it. They already.
I don't think they're going to, but that would be an issue. You better know. I call that out.
I would want to know. I would want to know how people would justify that, though. Well, he was a side character. He wasn't like a main kid, more a side character, so you could recast the side.
Which is one of the reasons why I said they need to go ahead and just recast Professor X, because what I don't want to happen, I mean, I love Patrick Stewart, but he's old. Yeah. And the probability, I work in EMS. The probability of you passing at 80 something is a lot greater than a 40-year-old person. Not to say 40-year-olds can't pass away, but the probability is higher because you are older in life and you are more susceptible to diseases and conditions that can make you pass. And what I don't want to happen is for us to be in the midst of finally getting X-Men and now Professor X is gone.
No, they definitely gonna have to get somebody else.
Oh yeah,
because everything you said is right. I don't think they can bring him back again.
No,
do it. And all love to him.
Yeah, he keep getting snapped.
My guy Patrick Stewart was moving kind of slow even in that chair. I mean,
he was moving slow in the chair.
Patrick looks good.
He just needed some more batteries. That's all.
Hold on, wait. We're not gonna. She said he was moving slow even in the chair.
He looked good for his age. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not no shade, but he was moving around like an 80-year-old. I'm sorry. I work with old people all day, every day. He was moving around like an old person because he is. I got called an ageist for this way of thinking, and I'm like, it's not an ageist. It's realistic.
Yeah.
He's the X-Men won't truly probably get into the MCU for another 5-6 years. He's gonna be damn near 90.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying.
To switch gears again to end on a brighter note. We've had this conversation so many times. I'm gonna let EMan answer first.
I got you.
Who do you think will be revealed as a Skrull first? Like in this whole, I know they Talos and Nick Fury and everything, but who is going to be the person that's gonna make your head go, "What the?
I never knew.
I never knew." Shout out to Tony Baker. I stumped EMan. He ain't say, I got him with that one. I got him thinking.
Yeah, I never thought about it because it
better not be.
It's so easy. It's so easy to make anyone a Skrull. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be. Literally, they could just be like.
So to rephrase it to kind of make it a little bit more interesting, who do you think is going to be the Skrull that starts the Secret War?
Because it got to be somebody.
Because Talos and them, they all nice and friendly, but who's that super Skrull that's like plotting?
We kind of find out. Captain America was the Skrull the whole goddamn time.
I mean, it would have to be somebody that no one suspects and everyone likes.
That sounds like Spider-Man to me.
I was gonna say Spider-Man, but we spent too much time with him. I don't think it would be a main character.
Because it would have to be somebody Captain Marvel never met, because they say her suits can detect Skrulls, so they could never come in contact with her. So by that little thing, somebody would have to.
I wonder if it'd be Val. Maybe she gonna put together the Thunderbolts. I wonder if she maybe.
Well, would that be like a?
It wouldn't be shocking, but I'm also just trying to think, because like I would think that it would have to be someone who's also empowered. Because if I'm a Skrull, I want to be someone who has the ability to do things, but also not be super suspicious.
Yeah.
and she work in the shadows all the time. So that'd be the closest I could think of.
It'd be interesting to see, and like you mentioned the Thunderbolts, and it triggered the thought. Like, it makes me upset. Like, if they don't recast T'Challa, like, I'll never get the Ultimates. Like, all the other characters are there except for Blue Marble, but all the other characters are there.
I mean, I don't know. I know you had mentioned earlier about, you know, them bringing on a son or T'Challa Jr. or whatever.
I don't want T'Challa Jr. because we're Storm.
And that's the thing, right? So my thing is this, because I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, if it is true that you bring in a T'Challa Jr., right? Okay, I get it. You're kind of sort of making the first T'Challa like a stopgap. Like, you're saying like, maybe that wasn't the real T'Challa, but T'Challa Jr. is the real T'Challa. Okay, let's just say whatever. But my thing is, are you going to make Storm the same age or similar age? Because to me, I'm like, if you have that happen where you say like, okay, there's a young T'Challa. I mean, how old is he going to be? 5, 8 maybe, if it was before or after the blip, because that's all we know of. Because how quickly is it going to take for that kid to grow up and start taking on those stories? But I would really wonder, like, actually, I'd be interested if they did have a young Storm pair up with him. So at least that would give me a little bit more of a feel good, even though you leaving this kid with no daddy, fulfilling that trope and killing off his dad again. But I don't know. How would y'all feel like if they did it, but they made Storm like young, around his age, so that eventually they can grow up together and be
together? Before we get to that, I pitched the idea of, because I think you said it, you even said it too in the old video. Like, so you mean to tell me T'Challa had a kid and didn't tell nobody? Like, the King of Wakanda just had a kid and then just kept it a secret. So I was saying, to piggyback off, I said, yo, so if he did, let's say he did have a son.
So he might not know. Let's just say he might not know.
Maybe he didn't know he had a son.
Because Nakia is a spy.
Okay.
And she traveled the world. So maybe she hiding the baby somewhere else. Who knows?
Maybe it ain't Nakia. And it triggers her to be Malice. I mean, who knows?
So I say this. So if that's the case, when did all this happen? Was it before Civil War? Because it had to be back. So let's get it some time. Because you just can't.
How further back are we going?
Because you can't.
Civil War was just 2016, and even after 2016, what? So Infinity War was only 2018, so that's only 2 years. That's when T'Challa really became king. So, and then there was a 5-year gap. So at most, I'm sitting there like, this kid is either going to be 5, maybe 8, unless, I mean, how far back did they go?
I don't know. I tried to make it make sense. Okay.
I mean, is it going to be like, you know, coming out of Mari, like, you are the father, and it's a grown 16-year-old walking out? Like, what are we doing?
You out here smashing like this?
What are we doing?
Have somebody come up to, hey, Granny.
Right. You know?
Bro, that would be, I would walk out the theater and stuff like that. Like, really? Ryan Coogler, that's what we on.
Not Ryan. Like, if they did that, that would be like the most stereotypical BET movie I've ever.
Like, where Tyler Perry at? Who wrote this?
Did Ryan write this or did Tyler? Like, no shade to Tyler, but I mean, Tyler's struggle movies are all about the Black struggle. And what I don't want is my superhero movie that's supposed to be awe-inspiring to be about a Black struggle. We're tired of Black trauma movies. That's why we don't support a lot of these slave films and shit anymore. We're tired of that.
You know, be real messed up. The real messed up part of this movie, if at the end credit scene to be a little baby walking up to the queen, or kind like, whose baby? This is your grandson. Like, really? That's how y'all throw this month in? You know what? I was rooting for y'all. What Tyler Banks said, we was all rooting for you. Don't do that, EMan. Don't you do that. Don't you do it. I know what you're doing. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Nah, do it. I like chaos.
To talk about things.
We're gonna talk about that off camera. I know what he's gonna say. I watch enough of EMan's videos and know what that look is. I know exactly what this look is.
I don't want black trauma, and it's really feeling, if it's not the 5-year gap, it's really feeling like it's gonna play on more black trauma. Like, the only way it would make sense is if it's the 5-year gap. And I know some of the things in the trailer don't coincide with that, but it's like, how many times has Marvel given us a trailer that scenes aren't even in the movie? Like, who's to say that
true.
white scene with Shuri is even in the movie?
That's also true.
That's very. What if I'm just gonna play just cause in this make believe world? What if the whole trailer is just a smoke screen? We going into a totally different movie.
Nah, they're not gonna do that.
You think so?
Not with the emotions attached to this. They're not gonna do that. Like, this ain't a movie to be cute with. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are real people, real emotions, real feelings attached to this. This ain't the time to be cute and be like, haha, gotcha. You know, nah. I know that's wishful thinking. I sure would hope that they would give me something different than what they showed us. But nah, I think what you see is what you get. At most, you might get something that was CGI'd out. But this, I don't think you're going to get that big of a misdirect. I think what you saw is absolutely what you're going to get.
Right on. So, Mr. EMan, we ain't going to take too much more of your time. Tell everybody where they can find you, all your social media links. And
yeah, so at EMan's Reviews, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Facebook is probably where it's at least for latest news and memes and all that fun stuff. Of course, on YouTube, EMan's Movie Reviews. We are every Friday we do a live show, and that's where we recap all the news and go through all these different fun things. Once in a blue moon, I'll drop a theory or something like that. Some other movie reviews as well. And yeah, definitely come and check me out. Be a good time.
Right on, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in once again. I'm your host, Jules88, Crystal Bay, the Homie Kid Phantom. Once again, thank you, EMan, for stopping by. I've got to have you back again with the Homie Phantom when he comes back. I'm there to bring you back.
I have to have you again after Black Panther 2 comes out.
Oh, you know he's ready for that one. But like always, thank you for tuning in, and we will see y'all guys later.